Jolan, true Centurions, and welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command, Orion Pirates Westmont. I am Fleet Admiral Turek of the battleship RS Flamma Pena, as we continue our campaign against the United Federation of Planets, and things have been going well, despite our little bit of deja vu. I did check, and yeah, we did take this planet, but apparently I had forgotten to save. Well, all's well that ends well. We have once again captured the planet at 16.5, so let's push out and continue the invasion of what remains of the Federation. There's really not a whole heck of a lot left that they've got, so, things are looking up for us. Not that they really were looking all that down. I mean, aside from the sabotage which blew up our ship, that was definitely a down point. But other than that, doing quite well. Currently squaring off against a light cruiser and a light cruiser. Ooh, it's a trap. It was indeed a trap. The enemy came at us from all sides. We had no idea what was about to happen, but until we stumbled into it. Let's turn around. It is an NVL as well as a NCD XM. So this will be a MERV heavy cruiser, or a MERV light cruiser. So a drone cruiser, and you will be a new strike carrier? Yeah, you're a new strike carrier. So we're going to target the carrier first. Go at him, guns ablazing. We are prepping a Wild Weasel because that NCD probably is going to be able to flush out at least 12 missiles a turn, and as awesome as our D-Racks are, I can take on 16, and then 8, and then it's not great. So I can take on 16 right now. He'll fire 12, I assume 12. We'll shoot down all 12 of them. I will then have 4 missiles left, 4 AMDs left, and then they will go on the recharge, and I can't order them to recharge early, which is a little bit of a sad thing. Let's make sure that we go in here to our electronic warfare systems, buff that, forward shields to the max, and he's at a range of 30, which is starting to get within range of preparing to do this 25, engage with the pseudoplasma torpedoes, and I think we will actually try and take out these Hawks. It's not too much of an investment for us. We should be able to take it out with relatively little effort, and he is still cruising along. We're just going to wait for that crash stop to show up. The enemy closing in from behind it at speed of 30. The Wild Weasel is ready to deal with him, so we will select our phasers, getting ready to deal the damages, and after we give him a nice big kicking in the face, we will then try to launch our pseudo-frigates. The range of 5, start engaging. One group. Wasn't able to take out the second group, although I do think the stern phasers might be able to do it. And they did. Okay, so all the fighters are down. All the heavy plasma will now engage here. I think... Oh, good. He doesn't have Gatling phasers. Light carriers generally do. Okay, took out the light carrier. No problem at all. Now we're being borne down on by this drone cruiser. He is zipping on in here. And he is equipped with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 missiles total that he can throw, because the MERV counts for 6. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right now our phasers are on recharge. Let's kick out a pseudo-torpedo here. See if he immediately tries to crash stop. Federation ships. Yep, there it is. Okay, that'll work out fine for us. We'll generally come in around here and prepare our S-type plasma torpedoes to launch as we make the turn coming around. Although, to be frank, it's the other direction that we want to go in, because this shield is more weakened than the other. I don't want to launch my pseudo-frigates into this because they do not handle missiles all that well. Send the S-type plasma torpedo right on for him. That should be able to knock out his forward systems. And it won't take out his shields at all, but it'll deal a little bit of damage to all of them, which is all we're really hoping to do. Nice impact there. And again, sandpaper effect, so his shield should be mostly in good shape. Plasma torpedoes are still on the recharge, but we can select all our phasers and probably smash right through his face. We're setting the tractors to missile defense early, because we know they're coming. And range there. Blasting it into him. And I am expecting at some point you to suddenly try and spit a whole bunch of missiles in my face. I'm a little bit surprised you're not doing that. He did drop his shields in order to beam a mine on top of us, which we will allow to bounce off the stern shields harmlessly. Plasma torpedoes, I want to get the Fs out as soon as I can, because I think I can get good shots in here. And he did crash stop, and we shall crash stop as well. All stop. I need to be sitting right here. All phasers select, because he's dead now. He's flat out dead. He shall not survive. So we're just going to sit here and wait. So wait for it. You know what, phasers? Weaken him a bit. And all plasma. Wait for it. Now. Every other weapon that we possibly have. Yeah, that took him. The crash stopped to defend against 2 F-type plasma torpedoes, and that's what did him in. He simply could not stand against that kind of firepower. Poor sad him. And how much prestige was that worth? Wow. Oh yeah, it was an ambush, so 550 prestige is not bad at all, and a tile neutralized, which will be helpful. We'll pop in here and see what this station has to say. We are still a little bit dented from previous missions, so we probably do need to go home at some point. I'm not super concerned about it just yet, but it is something to keep in the back of our mind. Although, as long as they keep sending light cruisers, this is a heavy war destroyer, at us, we should be fine. And we know he's a heavy war destroyer because he's got the quad nacelle design, which is, I suppose, the advancement of the normal Saladin design, because it starts as 1 as the Saladin, then goes to 2 for the Aquila, and then it goes to 3, but a different kind of 3 from the new strike cruisers. I know, it gets a little confusing, and then it goes up to 4 when you're at the heavy war destroyer. So the more nacelles you have, the more advanced you are, quite obviously. Our phaser capacitor is at full power, and an Orion heavy... Oh no, I thought it was a heavy battlecruiser, but no, it's just a light cruiser. But it is an Orion vessel who has shown up. We'll ignore him and focus mainly on the Federation vessel. Set up a 4 and a 2. And make sure that that forward shield is getting buffed to all little bits that we can possibly give it. There we go, reinforcing the forward shield only. How are we doing on pseudo-frigates? I am a little bit behind. Okay, we still have 2, so we're relatively good here. No worries and or concerns as of yet, as we soar on in here to deal with this light cruiser. Well, heavy war destroyer. HDWC-2X. I really at some point need to actually look into seeing exactly what this means. We know heavy destroyer war, and then C2. Not sure what the C is for. I assume 2 is just the variant of the C series. I just don't know what the C series is. Could be Commando. Nah, it's not Commando. Weren't we in an HDWC once at one point? Pretty sure we were. Because I'm fairly certain it's HDWC and then HDW other letters to denote what they were designed to do. And we'll set up our plasma torpedo bait assault just to make sure that he is helpless before us. And as soon as he drops his wild weasel, we'll come in, annihilate him in one shot. It'll be easy. A couple of photon torpedoes fired from long range, not doing anything. Pseudo torpedoes will now engage to trick the AI. This strategy will not work against a human opponent, because no human opponent is going to think you're going to send just that. Although that's not a bad shot, actually. That's actually a really decent thing to send, because right there, that's 80 damage. And if you dump a wild weasel, you've got everything else that I've got here. If you don't dump a wild weasel, then you take an 80 damage to the face. Yeah, phasers to take care of him. That discharged all of our forward-firing phasers, which is a little bit sad, but it won't be that big of a deal. We are capable of knocking out heavy cruisers with our entire plasma armament. A heavy war destroyer ought to be no challenge at all. Incoming missiles, but they shan't survive, as the plasma just feeds into them. Oh, wow, you are tough. You survived an amount of firepower that, quite frankly, annihilates, well, heavy cruisers. Oh, ha ha ha, because we didn't set it to enveloping. I feel foolish. I suppose that's where all that power came from. We do need to pull a little bit away from him. I do want to fire my S-type plasma torpedo at him, and we can't do that under a range of 1. We could, but we'd be punching ourselves in the face, and I don't feel like doing that right now. We'll fire that a little bit. Oh, what a waste of a torpedo. A true, true waste. And are you going to pass right over me? No, you're going to go off to the side, which frankly is a pretty good idea for you. Dump a mine here. Thought about dumping the nuclear space mine, but I figured he wouldn't touch it. We really want to dump that thing when we can pretty much guarantee a hit, because it's a lot of fun doing this. And he's launched a... Well, he's armed with 4 photon torpedoes, so he's basically heavy cruiser strength, or at least early heavy cruiser. And also a pair of missile launchers. That's almost battle cruiser. Not quite. I mean, the Federation heavy cruiser, the CA, past a certain point, does get a couple of missile launchers on top of its normal armament. And that was a mistake for him. He opened up his forward shield and took 43 damage for his troubles, just from the overloaded phaser firepower. Oh, this is a wonderful and lovely era. 22 damage through, and still, that's only some phasers. Never done full barrage, and we're just cutting through him. The speed is 10, so he's still doing pretty well. He's just high energy turned. We will not have plasma torpedoes ready to go just yet. Although... will you react to that? No, you won't. Of course you won't. Why would you react to that? It's such a minuscule amount of firepower. How would you react to that? You don't care. Phasers, all stern firing phasers, will knock out a couple of forward shields. the defensive plasma torpedoes, of course, are doing their hard work. And how about this? Can I get 2 good plasma torpedoes? That's got it. Alright, we were waiting for that one. At some point I figured eventually we would take it out. Come on. There we go. Phaser finally got him. And all plasma torpedoes prepare to be directed towards the port side. Unfortunately, that'll only be 2. Although we could drop back and get an S-type plasma torpedo in that as well. So 2 S-type plasma torpedoes and an F. This ought to knock out his main shield, although that's probably going to hit his forward port shield. And it did, but it did take it out. But that did open him up for a phaser barrage. We're not going to be able to get this turn going close enough in order to bring the R-type plasma torpedoes, I don't think. Maybe. It's getting close, although I really do not want to fire these things from too close, because we take the damage back and splashback. But that will do him in. The Pirates and the Federation dealt with. No muss, no fuss, no difficulty whatsoever. Excellent work, everybody. Round of applause. So, mission complete. Excellent. And we'll sit here and figure out exactly how we're doing. 232 prestige, which is not bad at all. And the Empire defense is at 5, so this should be vulnerable very shortly. We'll pop over here, just in case a mission shows up. It did. A surprise reversed. They're going to force us to take on a little bit of baby seal clubbing, which is what the surprise reversed is at this point. There's no difficulty. They will never have a chance to turn on. We will just annihilate them. Especially if we spawn in the close position. Hello, 47 distance. So yeah, we're looking at an Orion frigate, a frigate, a frigate, a frigate, and a frigate. So no difficulty challenge whatsoever here at all. So we'll just increase our speed to the maximum as we soar on in here. And phase capacitor almost charged, and that gives us more power to send into the engines before we even made it to the limit of our engine speed. Faster, faster, a little bit faster. Use all the power to get in range, because things like this are important. And you can go attack, and attack, and you can be targeted by all of my phasers. All heavy plasma torpedoes. Prepare for a phaser barrage as well. Excellent. Light plasma torpedoes. And let's also slow down. Select all phasers. Prepare for follow-up shot. Immediately upon hit to try and alpha strike it. It didn't quite work. Mainly because we didn't use all our phasers. And we'll come around to here. Plasma torpedo. There we go. Just managed to get it off. This won't kill it. To dent it, but we won't be able to get enough overload damage into it to knock it out in one shot. So a little bit, I can't call it a waste because we would have had to overrun him anyway. And you can't shoot something in front of you with a stern-firing plasma torpedo. So yeah, we will be able to hit him with a decent amount of phaser firepower. Okay, 4 phaser X's and 6 phaser? Yeah, 6 phaser 3s. So phasers select, he's on the stern, hit him with everything, and wow! I'm actually kind of surprised that worked. We'll come back around. They've got a DBR, the Deatho Key, which is not horrifically well armed. I mean, it's got 3 missile launchers, which is kind of meh. Oh no, 4 missile launchers, but 4-point defense systems, which that's pretty nice. I mean, he's a pretty good escort. And the Ruffler, the return of the Ruffler. Oh, there are so many of these things. It's not dead, which is kind of surprising to me. I suppose they opened fire on him. We did order the Ruffler to be attacked by our pseudo-frigates. Let's make sure we get in nice and close to this DBR X2 as we hit him with all of our phaser firepower. I do think that should kill him. I mean, he's already taken a couple of hits, and we saw a similar-sized ship get blown up in one phaser volley from fewer phasers. So get right on top of him. Didn't quite kill him. Plasma torpedoes will actually be ready shortly. Let's see if the stern-type phasers can do the job. Dumping everything, and yep, just enough. And all up and select. Come on, port side S-type plasma torpedo. You can do it. There we go. They are going to be staggered out a bit, which will mean less overload potential. Although that F might hit at the same time. No, a little bit behind. But good thinking. It came close. All weapons select, and get the starboard side weapons to fire in. I do think this will take him out. If not the phaser follow-up that we're about to fire, definitely will. There we go. Mission complete. Couple of pirates dealt with, thinking that they could do something on the border, and we were not about to let that happen. So a surprise reverse generally pays out pretty decently, which is always nice, because we are trying to buy another King Condor. 300 prestige for that kind of work. That's a worthwhile investment. And another patrol mission to go on. This will probably take this starbase. Last time we checked, it was an Empire Defense of 5. It'll probably do it.
Battle alert.
Ooh. It's this one. This one is the random ship in the middle and one over here, although in this case, it is an odd little thing. Plasma torpedoes, 2 enveloping. We do know we are going to get into a fight. We'll also pick up some speed, make sure we can get kind of close in time there. And she does have dilithium crystals. What is this? I do not know. It kind of makes me think of that one gigantic ziggurat in the Next Generation. The one where, like, data downloads or gets downloaded into that information about the sun and the moon gods and, like, tries to take over the ship. I remember that episode pretty decently. It was a weird one, though. And that's what this makes me think of. But what is it? Because Starfleet Battles has their own, like, collection of random ships and crazy objects. It's a really cool side cannon. I'm not anywhere near well versed in it. I'm starting to slowly look into it. But, yeah, they've got some really awesome stuff. And I'd like to know, what the heck is this? NPYR. N pyramid. So, what's N? I guess is the only real question we have. So our plasma torpedoes should be ready by the time the battlecruiser shows up. According to this, you are a BCV. So you are a battlecruiser carrier. Because there is no BCV for the named classes, you're just battlecruiser carrier. So he'll carry a certain number of fighters. Hi, I've come to steal your stuff. So if you don't mind, hand it over. It's mine, and we'll now make sure that we've got the 4 and the 2 set up for ECM, ECCM purposes. We'll slow down the ship to make sure that we don't take away. You have more dilithium crystals? Oh, dick. You have more dilithium crystals. I was gonna use those. I don't know what for, but considering we don't use dilithium crystals, or maybe we do. Our main reactor is a black hole. Okay, I'm gonna really hope that you don't have anything that did it. Okay. So question, where was your wild weasel? Because that would have been a perfect opportunity to use a wild weasel. Another 290 prestige, and unfortunately we have learned nothing about the random ziggurat in space. And another mission, it's a base assault. Of course it's a base assault. We finally actually neutralized the tile, and now they make us blow it up. It's a Merak starbase, too. Hit that red alert, increase that speed. We're squaring off against a battleship. Are you a battleship or a battleship carrier? It is a battleship carrier, and we're being supported by IKB Ruthless, a B-11 super battleship. All the firepower that you can possibly cram into a battleship, and more. Although technically, we're stronger, according to BPV. So a single BBVX shouldn't be all that much trouble. It's the starbase behind it that makes me scared. Because starbases don't joke around in this game. Well, some of them do, but the really big ones, those are not something you want to square off against very often. Because, as we've seen, they can annihilate you fast. Although, we probably are in the best position we've ever been to take on a starbase. Purely because the enveloping plasma torpedo and the number that we bring and the firepower of them that we bring probably could take it on. I don't know that for certain, but I kind of want to try it if it is indeed the largest size, although please don't be the largest size. Fire pseudoplasma torpedoes at range, and we will of course begin our turn-off, although we can't quite turn off too much because he does have a couple of... Yep, that's what we were waiting for. So we bounced them off the forward shield, and now we will definitely go turning off. His light phaser fire from out here won't be able to hit us. A whole bunch of fighters, though, they will be dangerous. They did try and add their weight of fire to the plasma torpedo bombardment that we sent their way. I want to launch my pseudo-frigates, but I'm really worried about doing so. But if we don't, we'll never get a chance to. Turn in, harass, and harass. Phasers. One group down. Any other phasers I got? Nope. We fired all our phasers pretty much. But he's not getting away. Excellent. All the heavy plasma torpedoes that we have at our disposal. And cloak. Cloak, cloak, cloak. Get under quickly. Get under quickly. Because a lot of phasers about to be sent our way. I think we're under. There we go. Did a nice big hit on that. And we can't get too close. That would be dangerous. Although the fighters didn't shoot me, which I'm really kind of surprised at. We are going to drop back out of cloak. All up in select and ready to rock. Track to defense is enabled, and we are going to start our steady port side turn. These Gatling phasers I don't believe are online, but we got a little bit close and took a little bit of hits to our shield. Stern firing enveloping plasma torpedoes doing the damages that it needs to do. We lost a couple of systems because we don't have any armor right now. We've lost it all through the course of battles, and so every single penetrating hit really does hurt. But we have basically mauled the MacArthur. And by mauled, I mean destroyed. It's gone. Just nothing left of it. Return to me, my little friends. And we'll make sure that we keep up with the repair work. Maximum speed of time, because I don't quite know where this starbase is. I know you're zigzagging steadily in this direction, but we have no idea. Let's set up our sensor scan. Deep scan. Oh, there it is. XBT. And send a probe. I don't think this is the big... It's not the big one. The big one is the motion picture starbase. And this is nice, but this is not. Okay, this isn't even really nice. This is 2, 4, 6 phaser-wise, so 2 more than a normal starbase, than a asteroid starbase. 2 heavy photon torpedoes, so even when fired at proximity mode, they will hit with 8 damage, 16 normally, and 32 if you overload. So, heavy photon torpedoes are nice. 2 missile launchers, which is nothing, and 6 Gatling phasers. 6 Gatling phasers are dangerous. Don't get me wrong, those are scary, but, well, as long as we're not within a range of 3, we really don't care. He should have a fighter complement, though, I believe. Yes, and there they are. Launch the Hawks, a couple of groups. Ooh, they're better than Hawks, because those had missiles. So these are not Hawks. These are something better. Or if they are Hawks, they're a late series Hawk, which is really interesting. Huh, I didn't even know you could do that. So this, once again, proves to me that you can set up different, it might just be a starbase thing, but you can seem to set up different fighter groups depending on the class of ship being used. I could be wrong on that, but, I mean, they did it. Fire all the pseudoplasma torpedoes. Let's see if we can't bait out a Wow Weasel. The USS Lee is the name of the starbase. So, slow down to normal speed. There it is. All phasers. Extra long-range engagement. Aha, we got it! Targeting the Lee. Heavy plasma torpedoes only because we are at range. Wait for the attack ship to go away. Wait for it. Wait, it's gone. Everything you've got. Heavy plasma torpedoes away. Select light for the follow-up. And all phasers through the down shield. Unfortunately, we have no phasers. We spent them all on a shuttle. So long-range hits, really getting some damage, and all of these are going to bounce off that shield. No damage. Yeah, they didn't even get through. Keep the turn going, and we will continue the siege going as well. S-type plasma torpedo, firing on the stern. This will hit the down shields as well, so that'll get a little bit of damage on in there. He's lost his shuttle bay, a Gatling phase, 3 Gatling phasers, and his anti-missile defense system. Not that we had any to add to it. He also has lost one of his phaser 4s. That could be important. Unfortunately, the other ones are still active, and they could be dangerous. We are currently flying around him, showing a shield that is not being buffed. So let's actually slow down a bit. Yeah, the Ruthless has really had a chunk taken out of him. So let's just stay at nice little siege range here. How are you preventing us from stopping your electronic warfare? Because we just weren't generating enough power to handle it. Okay, that makes sense. I can't dock you too much for that. Let's just turn on in, and all stop. If we put all our forward shield power into it, we should be able to hold off against just about anything you can throw at us. We are capable of holding off against entire planets. So knocked out his shields once again. Getting phasers down through. Yep, he's lost his systems. He's got no more weapons. Just engage as you bear. Let's increase the speed of time even. There we go. Starbase destroyed. And mission complete. We don't go on starbase assaults very often, and there's a reason for that. They can be very, very painful. But this one definitely worked out in our favor. So 250 prestige is our reward and the tile taken. Sadly, the starbase was destroyed doing it, so we do not gain an outpost here, although there's not a whole heck of a lot left up here to worry about. But that will have to wait for another time. I've been Tarek. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to receive a notification every time I release one of these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment, and I will see you all in the next episode.